This video is brought to you by Paperlike. It's been a minute since I've done a school accessories episode, tech related. And in 2025, I can only wish the things that I'll show you existed back when I was in school. It is only fair to start with the backpack itself, which is the TomTok Wind Pack. And this thing is not expensive by any means, but it has few ingredients that make it special and a definite recommendation in my book. This is 22 liters, and one of the things that makes it special, it's expandable, meaning this thing here can easily engulf huge clothes. So if it's winter time or you have a jacket that you want to put in here at any point, you can easily do that. Now, one thing that's not perfect in this case, and I'm gonna have to remove this book here for showcasing purposes, is that this thing doesn't stay up most of the time. So if you have a laptop or something, in most cases, it will probably just tip over. But that's okay. The second thing that makes this backpack super unique is the fact that it's featherweight. It weighs almost nothing, which means that if you fill it up with books or, school-related materials, you won't have to deal with the heft of the backpack itself, and that matters on a daily basis. On the inside, it has a dedicated pocket for the laptop and a separate one for the iPad. And perhaps my favorite feature here is the multiple access points. So aside from the top, you can also access it from the side, which is very convenient. On the back, of course, it has a luggage pass, which is always a must. And I gotta be honest, I've taken this on more than one trips, and it has held up quite nicely, even in this light color. It also comes in a few other colors that you can pick from the website, but for the price, which is around 85 bucks, to me, this is absolutely a no-brainer. In addition to the backpack, another accessory that I've been using for years, which is perfect for students, is the muffed carrying sleeve. It's made out of fake leather, and on the inside it is padded with felt, which protects the devices quite nicely. And mine being a couple of years old, I can say that it withstands the test of time quite nicely. Now this thing has a few features that are absolutely perfect for students. The first one being the protection. Now, first of all, it has a little pocket inside, which is expandable. It can fit things like a mouse or other little thingies and peripherals, but this thing can serve as a pad when you place your computer, which means no matter if you're working from a cafe or the desk that you're sitting at is kind of messy, this thing will give you the necessary protection. But this being muffed, there's also the perk of using muffed's foldable origami style of lifting your device up, which means that I have the additional elevation, which I can take advantage of, and raise up the laptop from 15 to 25%, like so. And when I'm done, all I have to do, fold the laptop, put it inside the pocket, close the flap, and move on. When it comes to school, taking notes, in lectures, the iPad is unbeatable. And the most premium accessory for it is the Magic Keyboard, of course. Now, this thing is great. It's solid, although with the latest generation, it tends to tilt a little bit forward, so you need to be careful if you keep it in your lap. But that aside, typing on this thing is fantastic. You might notice that I'm using a D brand skin, which again is a ideal protection for the different kinds of nasty surfaces that you might have to deal with. But if you're looking for a more affordable solution, $50 to $100 off, the Logitech's Combo Touch is a great alternative. Now this thing uses a more traditional kickstand solution for propping up the iPad, which means you can just use it like this and detach the keyboard itself to use the iPad standalone. Unlike the Magic Keyboard, here you have all-around protection of the corners and of course the ability to use it like this on a desk or in a lap. But just like with the Surface Pro 12, which I mentioned last time, the video is actually out and you can check it out in the description below and at the end of this video, this thing is not great for the lap. But that aside, the package that you get here is fantastic. By the way, if you end up enjoying this video, subscribe, because why not? While on the topic of the iPad, there is something that can really change the way it feels when used for school or work, and that's Paperlike's note-taking collection. At the heart of it all is of course the Paperlike screen protector, the purpose of which isn't only to shield the iPad screen. It uses something called nanodots technology, which gives the surface that familiar paper-like friction when writing or sketching with the Apple Pencil. It's subtle, but it makes handwriting more natural, brushstrokes more controlled, and somehow the whole process feels more intentional. What's impressive is that clarity isn't lost. The screen stays sharp, colors stay vibrant, and the pencil still responds instantly. And of course, it still protects the iPad from scuffs and smudges, so it serves a double purpose. Now, if the screen feels right, keeping it clean matters just as much, and that's where Paperlike's cleaning kit comes in. It's a compact little bundle with a refillable spray, microfiber wrap, and a case for easy travel. The formula is alcohol-free, so it doesn't mess with the paper-like texture, but it still handles fingerprints and smudges effortlessly. One kit lasts for hundreds of cleanings, which makes it both sustainable and practical, especially for students who carry the iPad around every day. On top of it, Paperlike offers pencil grips. Now, if you've never taken notes for more than a few minutes at a time, you'll know how quickly hand fatigue can kick in, and these grips contour the fingers so writing feels more comfortable, while also giving a steadier hold for cleaner lines and better precision. What's cool here is that they don't interfere with the charging or the double tap features either, which is a small detail but an important one. Altogether, these three products make the iPad feel less like a piece of glass and more like a proper note-taking tool, and you can save 15% by taking advantage of Paperlike's note-taking collection by simply following the first link in the description below. Now, the next piece of tech that I want to show you, which is perfect for school because school is tightly related to having some fun after school, are the SteelSeries Arctis earbuds, which are specifically designed for the PlayStation for a few reasons. But outside the PlayStation, they are perfect for school as well because they have active noise cancellation and they can last up to 40 hours with the case, 10 hours separate. So anyways, back to the PlayStation portion. These guys come with a 2.4 GHz dongle which connects directly plug and play to the PlayStation, which gives you lag-free experience when gaming, plus over 100 presets tightly integrated to the most popular games out there. And I've been fooling around with these for the last couple of weeks, and I can tell you the immersiveness here and the spatial audio they provide is actually very nice. And they have true wireless charging and they can be controlled via the earbuds themselves. But in addition to that, they come with an app and they can also be connected to the computer where you can dial in all the presets that you might require. The cool thing here is that if I have the dongle connected at 2.4 GHz and they're also connected via Bluetooth, all I can do is triple tap to quickly switch between the various connections and just move on. If I were to nitpick about those little guys, there will be two things that I want to share. First of all, the case is plasticky, so it feels kind of like iffy and lightweight, but that shouldn't matter that much because you toss this in the bag and you forget about it. It's small, which is nice. But probably the biggest thing to consider here is that these guys need to stay updated, and that can be done only via the computer. So you cannot do this via the app, although you can control it from the iPhone, but all the updates, including the ones on the dongle itself or the receiver, have to be done via the computer. So if you have just an iPad, that could be something to, keep in mind. Next up on the list is the Taurus 67 watt GAN charger. This thing is amazing because it has a feature that I haven't seen a lot before. Straight out of the box, you can tell that this is a premium charger because it looks very Apple-esque with all the, rounded corners and the finish. It has retractable prongs, but most importantly, it has a built-in USB-C cable, which uses a ratchet system to expand and collapse like this. So no more cables to worry about. On top of it, there is a USB-C port, which means you can charge multiple devices. And this thing is perfect for something like the MacBook Air, the iPad, and even the MacBook Pro. Perhaps the only other cable I would throw into this mix is the Nomad cable for the Apple Watch. This is a 100-watt cable, which typical for Nomad is super sturdy and reliable. And it has something that you can't see elsewhere, a built-in Apple Watch charger on one side of it. And for Apple Watch users, this is a lifesaver. I can see this being utilized a lot. Of course, this being Nomad, you can probably tow a car with it. And when you're done, you can just wrap it up like this and use the cable organizer to strap it up nicely and toss it in your bag. One accessory that I always carry with me when I'm on the go and I see a lot of potential for school is the Logitech Keys to Go 2 keyboard. Now this thing is remarkable because first of all, it lasts 3 years on a single coin battery. But the most impressive thing here is of course the size and the fact that it comes with a protective flap that you can just toss in the bag and not worry at all. Of course, this being Logitech, you can expect tri-connection from it via Bluetooth, which means I can connect up to 3 devices at the same time and just switch between them via the provided buttons. Now, it is a bit on the smaller size, but rest assured it won't slow you down once you get used to it. It's actually an easy keyboard to fast type on. In addition to the Keys-to-Go keyboard, the best companion to it is the Logitech Pop Mouse, which has just as impressive 2-year battery life with a single AA battery inside. This is a mouse I featured many times in my videos, being, to me, the ideal portable solution because it has this arch right here, which, believe it or not, helps the palm rest easily, and I can use this little guy on the go for hours at a time, feeling just as confident as if I'm using, let's say, the MX Master. Of course, it's much lighter and it can connect to 3 devices at the same time. Both of these items combined add very little bulk to your school everyday carry, which is important if you have to worry about a lot of books and stuff. When it comes to portable power, there are many different brands to choose from and of course different, capacities to select from. Personally, I've been using Ugreen for years, and one of my favorites is actually not the largest one, which is 25,000 mAh, but this one. This one is 12,500, and the reason I pick it up is because it distributes up to 100 watts of power, which means if we're talking about a MacBook Air or an iPad, this is the lightest choice to go for. Now, if you're using something larger, like let's say the 16-inch MacBook Pro, the biggest one, the 25 mAh, is the one to go to because this one provides a whopping 200 watts of power. Depending on the size, you'll get different types of display and on-screen information, which is useful, letting you know how much juice you have left in the battery itself, and of course, how fast it's charging the device. The other thing to consider here is, of course, the ports, whether or not you want to power up just one device at a time or multiple. Some of them have 2, 3, or more ports to select from. I'll be sure to list my favorite choices down in the description. Now, if you're using a device like the iPad Pro or another tablet or computer that doesn't have ports besides USB-C, an invaluable companion worth considering here is a hub. In my case, this is a 7-in-1 hub by Ugreen again, which gives me something that I use all the time, and that is an SD slot. For people who use drones or one of those gimbal cameras like the Osmo, the micro SD slot also comes in super handy. This thing is super compact, and you can just plug it into the USB-C port of the iPad and just take it from there. It also has pass-through power, which is important and something to consider, as well as Ethernet port and standard USB-A's in case you need them. If there's one must-have accessory, whether you are on the go, working, or going to school, it is the Nomad charge key. Now, I can't stop raving about this little thing because it is genius. You can think of it as an on-the-go charging cable, which could be attached to your keychain, kept in the pocket, or just in your backpack or sling. And it provides 240 watts of power from this tiny thing. It's magnetic and stays, as compact as possible. And all I have to do when I'm in a pinch is just, do this. Boom. And I'm charging. Absolutely fantastic. If you've seen some of my previous everyday carry episodes, you know how much I care about additional layer of organization, and that is because that layer of organization allows me to swap between different backpacks and slings super easy. Now, in order to achieve that, I need some sort of a pouch, or in that case, this hard shell case, which again is by Ugreen. I guess you can tell I'm a fan of the brand. So with this hard shell case, all I have to do is just organize everything into these pockets like so, and just zip everything, close it, and know that next time I decide to swap my backpacks, all I need to do is just move the computer and this thing and move on to the next backpack. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my latest everyday episode right here, as well as my favorite tech accessories over here. Like and subscribe to the channel, as well as my newsletter, and as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. This is E, over and out.